Hello and welcome to my podcast, Conversations Here and Now. Thank you so much for being here with me. It is May 19th, Tuesday, 2026. Yes, 2026. And the topic, the conversation I'm looking at today is the fact that looking poor is a strategic win. What does looking poor mean, right? It sounds bad at first, right? It sounds like what's the person talking about when they're looking poor is a strategic win. So let's look at this, okay? So at first glance, looking poor sounds negative, right? But what many people actually mean is choosing a simpler, lower status, humble appearance instead of constantly signaling wealth, success, or prestige. Okay, so in being humble and moderate, that choice can improve your life in many surprising ways. So let's look at this. Okay, point number one: when you lead a simple, moderate life, you stop performing for other people. Many people quietly spend huge amounts of energy trying to look successful. Okay, and we're talking, how do you mean by looking successful? Of course, most expensive, best clothing, expensive luxury cars, and you have the best and trendy of gadgets, whether it be the best phones, best everything, right? You have your best, most expensive status vacations and cruises and best islands, etc., right? You're constantly then upgrading these things. So trying to impress other people, look at me, I'm so successful, right? So the pressure never ends because status comparison never ends. So when you stop trying to look rich, you reclaim your mental energy, your financial freedom, authenticity, and peace of mind. You're no longer trapped in a performance. So mental energy is huge. Trying to look successful at all times, even if you're really, really, really well off, it can be stressful. But I'm talking here about normal, everyday people like us who work everyday jobs. And I'm not talking multimillionaires and billionaires here. So you get your mental freedom back, mental energy back. You get your financial freedom back. Okay, and I'll look into this as we go along. You're more authentic, and your peace of mind comes back. Right? So you no longer feel trapped in a performance that you're putting on for everyone else. Right? Point number two: you spend less and save more. And how does that work? Lifestyle inflation quietly destroys financial stability. People often increase spending not because they need more, but because they want to appear successful, right? You gotta call it, well, I can't wear this outfit twice. I can't wear this suit more than once a week. I have to have more suits, more outfits, more shoes, more bags, right? So a simpler outward lifestyle, it can lead to lower debt, more savings, earlier retirement, reduced financial anxiety, greater resilience during hard times. So lower debt, you're not charging your credit card all the time, right? You're not going in debt. More savings, more money in your pocket. Fantastic, right? Which can lead to, if you invest it properly, early retirement and reduce financial anxiety because you have more money on hand for emergencies and every other day stuff, right? So you don't have anxiety, right? So if you fall upon hard times and you have these savings, then you're resilient enough to be able to handle these hard times, right? So quiet wealth is often more powerful than visible wealth. So that is really important, right? Point number three: you attract more genuine relationships. So if you're trying to always look best and drive the best cars and have the best gadgets, etc., so then people are being drawn mainly to your money, to your possessions, to your status, to your image, right? This may be a false image that you're trying to portray, a false amount of money that you may not even have by portraying this image, right? So portraying this false status. So then the relationships may depend on these things remaining intact. So whatever relationships you have depend on those things. Then you have to keep these things intact and going. Who knows? If you start acting normally, start wearing normal clothing, etc., driving normal cars, are these people going to hang around with you? Right? So a modest presentation tends to filter people differently, whether it's at work or in your personal lifestyle. It can attract authentic people, loyal people, sincere people, and which leads to grounded, more sincere relationships. People get to know you, yourself, not your image, not the brand of clothing you wear, not the brand of car you drive, not the brand of bag you have, right? Not the brand of shoes you have, right? So they get to know you instead of the image that you've put on, okay? Which leads to my next point. Point number 4, you become less vulnerable to envy and competition. Visible success often attracts comparison, jealousy, social pressure, subtle competition. You know, you got to always compete with your neighbor, competing with the Joneses down the street, right? So living more modestly can create social calm, right? There's a reason many financially secure people drive ordinary cars, wear simple clothing, and avoid showing wealth publicly because privacy protects your peace. When you have Even if you are financially very, very secure, why are you financially secure then? Because you're not wasting money on these status things, right? You're saving your money, you're investing it properly, you're enjoying life. Nobody's saying you have to live like a complete poverty hovel completely, right? Live a humble, moderate life. So you reduce comparison amongst people, comparing yourself to other people, and then being jealous of other people. And then there's social pressure on you to keep trying to look the best. It's always competition, right? So this leads to me to my point number 5, which is you reduce decision fatigue. Constantly chasing appearances, chasing appearances creates endless decision. You wake up every morning or before you go to sleep. What should I wear tomorrow? Or what should I wear this morning? You gotta have my whole outfit match, have the whole outfit perfect, because I can't wear the same thing once a week. I can't. So all that leads to, decisions that are really wasting your time, burning your energy. Is this fashionable enough? What will people think? Right? Do I need a better version of myself? Oh, maybe I got to go shopping tonight after work because you know what? This is just ridiculous. I don't have enough items. Or my shoes don't match up with the items that I have, so I need more shoes, right? So things become complicated every night and every morning, right? So simplicity reduces cognitive overload, right? Many highly productive people simplify clothing and lifestyle because fewer trivial decisions leave more energy for meaningful work and even more energy for just enjoying life in general, right? So, so that leads me to my next point, which is once you do that, once you live modestly, once you live simply, once you live humbly, then you focus more on function than image, right? So instead of focusing on like signaling everybody, look at me, look at my clothing, or just talking, see the bag that I have or see the car that I drive. So you're always constantly signaling to everybody. You're trying to impress everybody and you're trying to curate your appearance at all times, So instead of doing that, a simpler life shifts attention towards your health. You can focus on your health. You can focus on the relationships, as I had mentioned previously, more authentic relationships, more meaningful work, right? That, whatever you do, it means more to you. Your hobbies, you can pick up more hobbies instead of your hobby being constantly looking for, more, better clothing, better everything. You can do something else. You can go, whatever it is, working out, volunteering, going for long walks, focus on other things that focuses on your health, right? Learning, and you can learn more that can help you at work. You pick up a couple of online courses that can help you at work, right? Inner stability, and that's a big one. All these things, then, as I said, better health, better relationships, better meaningful work, better hobbies, better learning leads to more inner stability, leads to more calm, leads to less anxiety. Okay, so many people eventually realize that some of the happiest individuals they know live very ordinary looking lives because these people, they live ordinary lives. It's not their concern is the things that I just mentioned to you about their life: the health, relationships, meaningful work, hobbies, learning, and inner stability. That's their focus. Okay, which leads me to point number 8. You gain huge psychological freedom and financial freedom, right? So, as I've already mentioned, but the financial freedom part, but the psychological freedom is great too. One of the biggest burdens in modern life today is maintaining an identity. because you're constantly bombarded by ads for, outfits, shoes, cars. Well, cars. Every second ad is about cars, and every second third ad is about phones. You got to have the newest phone. You got to have the newest gadgets, right? Newest earbuds, beats, headphones, etc. So once you stop trying to constantly project success, then some points come in view. Failure becomes less terrifying. So if you don't have the best of everything, you're living moderately, then really you don't worry about anything failing, right? Who cares what other people think of you? Aging becomes less stressful, right? Like you don't need to have the Botox, you don't need to have the, hair colored all the time. You don't. So you can. I know a lot of people who at 65 are trying to look like they're 40 years old. Really? Like, you don't need to do things like that. So act your age. So aging becomes less stressful. Or they're constantly saying, wow, I don't want to look old. People say that all the time. I don't want to look old. Come on, what are people going to think? So there are, like I said, they're constantly coloring their hair, having Botox. Everything costs money, right? So act your age. If you're 62, you're 62. That's what it is. If you're 72, 82, that's what it is. Social comparison weakens. So if you no longer have social comparison, comparing yourself to your neighbors, comparing yourself to your friends, your family, work, life becomes much lighter. You don't worry about those things, right? What's on your mind then, right? Life is complicated enough as it is nowadays, with everything that's happening in the world today. So you don't need this extra stress. You never need this extra stress anyway. There's freedom, huge freedom in no longer needing to impress everyone around you, right? Lead a peaceful, quiet, moderate life. Be less visible. I always try for that. Be less visible so nobody notices you that you're. I always drive a very, a normal looking car. I always wear normal looking clothing. I do all my shopping at Costco. You can still get great clothing for really good prices. Money in my pocket, right? So this is an important distinction. There is freedom in no longer needing to impress everyone. Now, when this does not mean that you're neglecting your hygiene. You still got to do everything to make yourself healthy. Don't neglect your hygiene, okay? Are you abandoning your self-respect? No, you're not doing that, okay? Are you living in deprivation in any way? No, nobody's saying you have to wear old clothing that's 20 to 25 years old. All I'm saying is, like I give my example. I'm not plugging Costco here. I'm not getting paid for anything. I go to Costco for almost all my clothing. Great. You can even get brand names there for fantastic price, right? So you're not living in deprivation, but everything looks moderate, right? You don't have to struggle financially. You don't have to pretend to struggle financially. You don't have to reject ambition entirely, right? You still have your ambition of being the best you can at work, being the best person you can be, and achieving this, achieving that. But that doesn't have to be a status kind of thing. You don't have to show off with your cars and your clothing and your gadgets and your items that you have, right? So when you stop doing that, it means that your modesty over status signaling. So modesty over your status signaling, simplicity over image obsession, substance over performance. These three are really important points, right? Modesty over status signaling, simplicity, obviously, is living a simple life, humble life, or image obsession constantly, okay? And then which results in having more substance in yourself and your life, or just performing for other people. Okay, these are very useful mindsets. Now, here's the really good thing that I always say: look simple, live rich. Right? Not rich in appearance, but rich in time, health, savings, freedom, calm. Calm. That's really important nowadays. Relationships and purpose. Those forms of wealth tend to matter over the long run than looking impressive for and towards strangers. Okay, so living a simple life. Again, I'll say that you don't have to go keep wearing clothes that are 10, 15 years old. You don't have to look bad. You know where to shop. You know what to get. So you say put more money in your pocket for your retirement. Retire early for emergency savings, and you can still go on holidays, good holidays. right? You can still get a good car. You don't have to drive a 20-year-old beater, right? You don't have to buy a used car that's 15 years old necessarily, right? So you can save money. So all of that leads to less anxiety, and that's the most important thing. Your health, when you have less anxiety, you have better health. Okay, you sleep better, you look better, you feel better. You're not competing with anybody. Who cares if the guy down the two doors down is driving a BMW? Who cares if he's wearing the best of clothing? But you know that chances are that guy is in debt. He can't meet his payments, and there's good chances by you living simply and moderately, you're not in debt. You're not in debt. You're not in you're saving money for for rainy day, any emergencies that come, etc., things like that, and you are in peace of mind. So I hope you like this topic. I don't want you to take it the wrong way. Saying looking poor does not mean looking poor. It means living modestly. Okay, look simple but live rich. This is a very important point in your life. It's important to teach your kids to live like that. Okay, that's how kids learn from us. They live like us. They learn from us. So if that's what we show them how they should live their life, that's how they will be, and their future will be better. Okay, thank you very much for being here with me today. I hope you like the topic. Please let me know in the comments below. How you live your life. What do you do to keep your life simple? Okay, please please subscribe if you're not subscribed. Okay, please turn on your notifications, share it with your friends, see what they say. Okay, this is an important topic. Talk to your kids about it. Okay, thank you very much. I'll see you next time. Same place, same time, same channel. Take care. Bye bye.